Fine little blade. Maybe I'll pick my teeth with it.
In A Clash of Kings, Salladhor Saan tells Davos Seaworth about the forging of Lightbringer and Azor Ahai's sacrifice of Nissa Nissa. Nissa Nissa was the wife of the legendary hero Azor Ahai, and in order to unleash the powers of the magical sword Lightbringer so that he could defeat the darkness and the Great Other, he had to sacrifice her by plunging the sword into her heart. According to Salladhor Saan, the legend goes something like this. Darkness lay across the world, and Azor Ahai was the chosen hero to fight against it. To fight against the darkness, Azor Ahai needed to forge a hero sword. He labored for 30 days and 30 nights until it was done. However, when he went to temper it in water, the sword broke. He was not one to give up easily, so he started over. The second time he took 50 days and 50 nights to make the sword, even better than the first. To temper it this time, he captured a lion and drove the sword into its heart. But once more the steel shattered, the third time with a heavy heart, for he knew beforehand what he must do to finish the blade. He worked for 100 days and 100 nights until it was finished. This time he called for his wife and asked her to bare her breast. He drove his sword into her breast, her soul combining with the steel of the sword, creating Lightbringer. Now, I know a lot of times we tend to overthink things in Game of Thrones, but sometimes you have to broaden your horizons and maybe not take things quite so literally. Kinda like Missandei reminds Dany in this scene.
Forgive me, but your translation is not quite accurate. That noun has no gender in High Valyrian, so the proper translation for that prophecy would be the prince or princess who was promised will bring the dawn.
Just like Daenerys, I think we've all been erring on the translation. In A Storm of Swords, Davos Seaworth wonders whether it's Edric Storm who is to play the part of Nissa Nissa, if Stannis Baratheon is indeed Azor Ahai come again. Of course, in the case of the show, it would be another.
Have you ever used it?
Once or twice.
Now, if we broaden our outlook and remember not to take the story so literally, we'll realize that the sword being forged isn't actually a sword at all. It's Arya that's being forged.
The steel must be part of your arm.
It was right there for us to see and hear. He was telling us the sword and Arya are one.
Can you drop part of your arm? No.
That noun has no gender in High Valyrian.
You must listen to me, boy.
I'm a girl.
So the proper translation for that prophecy would be the prince or princess
Boy, girl, you are a sword.
who was promised will bring the dawn.
That is all.
Now remember the first part of the legend. She worked and labored for 30 days and 30 nights and then went to temper it in water.
The water dance. It is swift and sudden. All men are made of water. Do you know this? If you pierce them, the water leaks out and they die.
And just like Snow's name is a bastard's name from the north, Waters is a bastard's name from the Crownlands. This very well could be a bastard with the last name Waters as Arya's first kill. Just like the legend when Azor Ahai stuck the sword in water, the sword broke. Just like when Arya stuck the sword in the bastard Waters, she was broken. It was her first kill, and just like all first kills, a piece of her would now be broken forever. Now let's remember the second part of the legend. The second time he took 50 days and 50 nights to make the sword even better than the first. To temper it this time, he captured a lion and drove the sword into its heart. But once more the steel shattered. And one more time, Arya the sword is broken. The third time with a heavy heart, for she knew beforehand what she must do to finish the blade. She worked for 100 days and 100 nights until it was finished. This time she called for her loved one and asked them to bare their breast. She drove the sword into their breast, their soul combining with the steel of the sword. It was only then that Lightbringer was forged and the magic sword came to life. Now we've already seen Gendry almost be sacrificed once. Even more ruthless and ironic is Arya asking Gendry to forge the weapon that will take his own life.
Can you make it?
What do you need something like this for?
Don't ask questions you don't really want to know the answers to, Gendry. Is it going to be Gendry who'll be the Nissa Nissa, or will it be someone else? I think once we open our minds and listen to what the show is actually trying to tell us, we'll see the true Azor Ahai is Arya Stark.
Doesn't really roll off the tongue, does it?
No, but I like it better.